Hey everybody, welcome back. We're going to do Birdhouse Part 2 today, and I'll show you guys a little bit of the assembly. I'm going to be using a combination on my project of some glue, some nails, and some wood screws. So we putting some things together. The other thing I need to do today is make the front of the birdhouse. So I'm going to be using what I've glued up as a template to get the correct shape. Last time I showed how to use your plans to lay out complex shapes using a marking awl and poking holes right through your plans, and that worked okay on the back for mine, and I left it a little oversized. This time I'll show you how to trace the front and cut it out, so let's get going. Okay, as you've seen, I've got part of the birdhouse here glued up. I glued up the sides and the base, and then I also glued the back. I left the back a little bit large so you can see it's overhanging slightly, and I'm going to use either a block plane that I have or a sander to make that all flush. I've got the front of the birdhouse here. I haven't cut the shape yet, so I'm going to end up putting this over top and basically tracing around before I go and cut these angles out. And of course I have the chop saw to be able to do these angles, which is a little easier, so if you have one of those, that could be used. Finally, we'll be adding the roof on with some wood screws, a little bit of layout on there, and some gluing obviously. Here's the tools I'm going to use today: cordless drill, square, this is for some layout, obviously a pencil, number 2 Robertson for putting in some 1 1/4 inch construction screws, Robertson drive. I'm also going to be using some finishing nails that I found to reinforce the joins on my birdhouse. Again, I used some wood glue, but it's not waterproof, so I was using it to hold things together with my angles. And I'm probably going to use a small drill bit to drill a few pilot holes before I hammer in these nails. This wood I'm using, which is poplar, has a tendency to split when you put nails into it. So some pilot holes, even for a nail, can help with that. Again, I got my plans here just so I can check any of my other details before I move on. So with my birdhouse in position over the front, I lined everything up nice and even at the bottom, so I have one less cut to do, and then I just traced out the general shape that I need to cut. Because these little lines here representing where the roof line is going to go are very short, I'm going to use my square here to extend these lines so I can easily see my cut lines, and then I will cut this out. Also, I'm going to lay out and drill part of the hole for the bird today, but I don't have a drill bit large enough for the hole I want, so I'm going to end up using a jigsaw to finish cutting that out, and then we'll sand it smooth before assembling that part as well. So here I'm just checking my measurement on how high the hole needs to be for this birdhouse. It's 4 inches from the very bottom of the floor, and of course my front cover is going to come all the way down, so I'm looking at 4 3/4 inch from the bottom. The height of the hole for your birdhouse does matter. Again, you can look up different heights and hole sizes online for the type of bird that you're trying to do, but for a chickadee or house finch, which I'm going for, that is the recommended height from the floor for the bird. So let's lay this one out on mine and we'll drill it. So for my next few steps, I'm going to be laying out the size of the hole. I've found the center and I measured up the correct height for where the hole is going to be. And for myself here, I only have, or the largest drill bit I have is a 1 inch Forstner bit. And so this isn't the size that I want. I want to have a 1 1/2 inch hole. So before I drill it, what I'm actually going to do is use my set of dividers, which I've turned into a compass. And I'm going to use this to lay out the actual size before I drill the hole. This way I can sand or shape or use a jigsaw, as I'm planning to do, to get the right size on here. I'm going to pause this while I draw the circle, and then I'll show you what I mean. Okay, my hole's laid out, and here's the size of my Forstner bit, so I'm going to be drilling with this. The reason I laid out the larger hole first is because after I drill a big hole, I won't have a center point in which to use a compass or a set of dividers. So doing that layout first is important. I'm going to be drilling through 2 sides with this one, so for me to get started, I'm going to actually drill a very small pilot hole all the way through, and then that way I'll be able to locate the other side, and I'm going to use my cordless drill to drill through halfway this way, and I'll flip it over and drill halfway this way, and then that way I'll get a nice clean hole without any breaks in it. So I've placed a piece of scrap wood underneath so I don't drill into my table. Make sure you do the same depending on where you're working. And now we're getting lined up to drill this hole. So we'll drill our first little pilot hole right through. Pilot hole is done. I'm ready to drill with the Forstner bit. Now, if you don't have a drill bit that this is this large, there is another way to make an opening. And so I'm going to show that on the back first. And what we're actually going to do is take out this Forstner bit. I'm going to put in a small size drill bit, and I'm going to drill a series of holes side by side all the way around. This can be another way to remove material, and then you just have to smooth out the edges once you're done with sandpaper or a file or whatever you happen to have at home. So if you don't have a large drill bit, don't worry, it still can be done. Check this out.
So this is an example of drilling all the way around to open it out. If you drill close together, you'll be able to take a X-Acto blade or a steak knife and be able to cut the rest of the way through, and then smooth it out with some sandpaper afterwards. I'm going to switch it up though. I'm going to use my Forstner bit and then switch to a jigsaw to cut the rest of this one out, because those are the tools I have, and I might as well use the best tools for the job.
Alright, I'm going to drill halfway through with my Forstner bit so it doesn't chip. Flip it over, find my center hole from using my pilot bit beforehand. That was the purpose. Okay, this is my jigsaw. It's an old Bosch. Just because I'm a shop teacher doesn't mean I have nice things. This is a relic. It's super old. In fact, the blades that I have with it are not very good for doing this. They're all super aggressive saw blade teeth, and this could potentially end up chipping the wood. I'm going to set it up and give it a try anyways, because as I said, work smarter, not harder, and this is the right tool for the job, just not the right set of blades. So we'll see how it turns out. Okay, I got my safety glasses on. We're going to try out this bad boy and see what we can do here. Okay, so we got the job done. It's not the cleanest hole I've ever made, mainly because the width of the blade was so wide, it doesn't like to turn a tight radius. So in the future, the narrower the blade, the finer the teeth, the sharper curve you'll be able to make. I stayed a little ways inside my line, so now I'm going to make a homemade spindle sander to clean this thing out. It's going to require a piece of doweling, some sandpaper, tape, and a cordless drill. Check it out. Here's my homemade spindle sander. I actually ended up using a pencil, wrapped some 80 grit sandpaper around it as tight as I could, put some tape on it. I left a little bit of the pencil sticking out, put it in the chuck of the drill. Instant spindle sander. And now we can smooth this thing out. Looks like I need 2 hands and another clamp. Check back in a minute. Turns out it's working great, except my pencil broke. So we will rebuild. What video editing? Hey, it's not perfect, but it turned out pretty darn good. I've put a little bevel on there. I don't think the bird's gonna care. Time to cut out the rest and get this thing sanded and put onto the project. Minty, she's all cut out. Let's sand it up. Alright, sanded things up quickly there. Once again, I'm going to get the front attached on here simply with a little bit of carpenter's glue, PVA, polyvinyl acetate, That's what that stuff's called. A company called Type Bond that makes this one. Pretty high quality stuff. Again, not waterproof, so it's just gonna keep things in position, and then I'll add a few finishing nails after the fact. Spread this glue on, need a little touch-up sanding when we're done, and we'll go from there. Next we'll be adding the roof, maybe a little bit of finish, and then we'll mount it up in a tree and see if we can't get a bird in it. That'd be awesome. Okay, all clamped up with the front on and some glue. What I'm going to move on to next is laying out some mounting holes for my roof. And so I'm going to be putting a few markings right onto the back of the birdhouse to show the center of where the sides are, because I want to bring a screw down through the top and into the middle. By marking the sides here and here where the center is, I can put the roof on and then transfer those lines onto the roof where I can drill the holes. Okay, so I've marked where the sides are on the project by extending a line right to here and then finding the center. My material was 3/4 of an inch thick, so I found the halfway, which was 3/8. I've made the marks, and now I can simply temporarily put the roof right on, and I'm going to transfer these markings onto the roof. And now I will use my tri-square to extend these lines up and across the roof. I'll show you what it looks like. All right, I transferred my layout lines from the center up the back edge and all the way across on both sides, and then I decided where I was going to drill the holes. What I was careful about here, we're choosing the hole location, is I didn't want to drill through and have the screw go in between the join from the front and the back. This could potentially push the pieces apart, weaken the project, and so I've staggered them so they're well behind the joins, and they'll be going into solid wood, which will produce a stronger grip and not damage the project. I'm going to drill some pilot holes in these and install my construction screws that I have for these, and we'll see what this thing looks like. Alright, so I used a 1/8 pilot bit for a number 8 wood screw so I don't get any splitting happening. Some of you guys will know my rule here. I have 4 holes I need to drill, but the rule is drill it, then fill it. If you put the screw in and hold things still, then you can drill your next hole and put a screw into that, and things will line up. If you went and drilled all 4 holes and didn't hold anything still with the screw, then things are probably not going to line up and you'll get a little bit more frustrated. Let's put in this screw. Okay, screws are in on one side. I've drilled and filled the holes on the other. I've actually removed the screws here because now I'm going to open this thing up and I'm going to add some glue to the center line of my my roof, and then fasten everything back down so that this can dry and prevent major leaks into the inside. And then the roof will be one piece and removable for clean out later on. Finally, I'll add some metal fasteners, and that'll be coming up next. So, a reminder, with all this work that you've been doing, you're probably making a huge mess. I know I've got a huge mess behind me and in my shop. So do yourselves and your parents a favor. Make sure you clean up really well. Make sure things go back where they belong. And if you're not sure where they go, ask. But don't leave a huge mess for someone to have to clean up after you. That's not the purpose. I'm going to clean mine up now, and next video is going to be finishing and installation of this birdhouse. You can check it out in a little bit. All right, good luck with this project. You guys have fun, be safe, and hopefully we'll see you back in the real shop soon.